Today I'm going to talk about all the books that we're currently reading right now. And if you like this video, go ahead and leave me a comment down below and let me know, and I'll continue to do this. I have a 13-year-old boy, 11-year-old boy, I do, and then 9-year-old girl, 6-year-old girl, and then I'm going to share with you what I am currently reading, and maybe my husband, I might ask him. So those will be at the end. All these books that I'm going to talk about right now are going to be in the description box below, so check them out and you can purchase them if that's something you want to read. So with my 6-year-old, she doesn't actually read. I have to read to her, and because she has Down syndrome, she's at a 4-year-old developmental level. So the books that I read to her are going to be anywhere from Usborne books that I bought with flaps and lots of other stuff. If you're curious to know specifically the kind of stuff and materials I use with her, I can make a whole video about that if that is something you want me to do. Let me know in the comments, and I probably have her join me. Why not? So let me jump into my daughter, who is 9. So she does not like to read, and I kind of have to force her to read. But much like her mother, she actually will read several books at one time. And so I went into her room and I found 2 book series that she is currently working through right now. She is working through Millie Maven and the Bronze Medallion. It is by Ted Dekker and his wife, Rachel Dekker. He is a Christian faith-based author, and there are going to be a lot of symbolism, stuff in here that's going to reflect on biblical teachings. So basically, she's an orphan who lives with her evil aunt, trapped in a life of cruel punishment without any friends. And so the night of her 12th birthday, they invite her on a journey that changes her life forever. So it's an adventure book, and there are 3 that I know of, and my daughter is embarking on these right now. So my daughter actually got done reading this book called A True Princess by Diane Zoller, I think is how you say it. It's Zahler. She loved it. She plowed through it. She kept talking about how beautiful it was and all the things. It's basically about a 12-year-old girl who was a servant and ran away with her best friend because she was being mistreated. And I guess there was some romance in it, she said. When we talked about it, it was not inappropriate. In fact, I think it is a faith-based story, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, it's not, so the other book series that she's reading, because we just got done with the medieval period, she is reading the Legends of King Arthur. And this is actually the children's version, which still, there is some discussion about whether King Arthur and his adventures are appropriate for kids. We all know it's a fairy tale, or it just might be, something was somewhat true that's been, expanded upon over the years. But she is reading through these books right there pretty quickly. This one's called No Ordinary Boy. Let's see the author there. I actually got these from Costco. It's, here's the print and the picture size. So if you didn't see, the story is retold by Tracy Mayhew, and it is based on the books The Legend of King Arthur. So that's what my daughter is reading right now, which is a lot. She bumps back and forth as long as she doesn't get them confused. I will say the Millie Maven, I'll show you the inside of this book. It's a little bit more challenging. She is currently in 3rd grade and she's moving into 4th grade. So let's talk about my 10-year-old boy, who pretty much sucks down everything I put in front of him. Now, there is a book series that he had just finished reading, a pretty popular one right now. He just whizzed right through these, but now he has moved on to Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. And we actually did this, both him and his brother read this book as part of a literary study guide that we got from Where'd You Learn That? I'll leave a link to their website. Their literary guides are really cheap, but they're really good. A good little extra touch to the books that you read. And the little bit that I heard from this book, it's an adventure book, definitely, and it brings in a lot of really cool African American references and tales and stories, and it's really neat. They really enjoyed it, and they actually went through these pretty quickly, both of my boys actually, but Ethan is still finishing this up right now. You can tell it's been everywhere with us. So but it's a really good one, and it's a series, so if they want to keep reading, we can get the rest of them. Tristan Strong punches a hole in the sky. So now my older boy, he's done with Tristan Strong, and before that he is taking an American, it's actually at the co-op, it's American History Fact Through Fiction book, where they're going through fiction stories that help tell the story of American history. And so they just got done reading this lovely book, Number the Stars, which I love this book. It's a classic. My other son, my 11-year-old, will be taking that class at the co-op next year, so he's going to be reading through those. In fact, they had 13 books that they had to read through in 1 year, basically telling the story from Roanoke all the way down through the 60s, 70s, 80s. In fact, the book that he is reading right now is called Hidden Figures. It's the Young Reader's edition, and it's the untold true story of 4 African American women who helped launch our nation into space. So this is the book that he's reading right now, and it's during from World War II through NASA's golden age. These 4 women confidently and courageously stepped into the National Advisory Committee for NASA. They stepped into NASA. So it's just, like I said, tells the story. He says it's good. I can see where he is. He's right here. So he's only read this much. This is kind of what the inside looks like. Now, we are reading some books together, and I have an amazing app called Scribd. If you guys do not have that app, I will leave a link in the description box below. You can get a 3-month free trial with that app, and I highly, highly recommend it. Right now we're listening to Dr. Dolittle, which is interesting that we're listening to that book because there's a lot of interesting references in there to evolution, but it's a good talking point because we are not big into evolution, obviously. We are definitely young Earth. We just kind of overlook it, discuss it, and focus on, like, you know, the fun adventures that Dr. Dolittle goes through. We're hoping to watch the movie. I haven't seen it, but it's a joke between our family and kids because Dr. Dolittle is played by Iron Man. And in the book, Dr. Dolittle is a short little pudgy guy. So they don't really look alike. So we'll see how that plays out, you know, Hollywood. So the books that I am currently reading. So I'm doing most of these on audiobook through Scribd. And the one that I'm zooming through right now, which by the time this video goes up, I'm probably going to be done with it. But I'm reading The Peacemaker, A Biblical Guide to Resolving Personal Conflict. And it's by Ken Sande. I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of like a help me be a peacemaker kind of book. And there's some really good talking points that I just really had to sit and think about. So it's a really, really good book. Another book that I'm reading, because just like my daughter, I read like several books at once. I am reading the newest, I believe it's the newest book by Israel Wayne. And it is called Pitch in a Fit, Overcoming Angry and Stressed Out Parenting. I get stressed out, okay? And yeah, I lose my temper sometimes. I mean, don't we all? Another book I'm reading, which a lot of you that follow my channel might find very interesting that I'm reading this book, but it's called Messianic Judaism is Not Christianity by Stan Telchin. And a lot of you may be asking me why I'm reading that, because I go to a Messianic congregation. And he's saying that it's not Christianity, which actually that title is very clickbaity. So when you actually read the book, you realize he's not saying that all Messianic Jews are not Christians and all Messianic Jewish congregations are not really Christian. He's addressing the fringe Messianic believers out there that do not accept the idea of grace. They're very works-based. And with reading that book, it kind of just opens my eyes to a lot of things out there that I've already been aware of. It's also confirmation that our congregation does not subscribe to some of these thoughts that he is talking about in this book, and so that's just very confirming. But I'm reading that book, and for those of you that don't know what Messianic Judaism is, I would not start with that book. If you guys want to know more about, you know, where we stand as Messianic believers, I do have videos on it. I'm not going to go into detail here. but I'll leave them in the description box below and put an iCard up, of one that I think will really give you a good grasp of kind of where we come from. But I'm bringing that book up to say, I like to read books that may or may not be what I agree with, and also to challenge myself a little bit more to understand perspectives within the Christian faith. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you like this kind of video so I can make more of them. And until then, I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.